All right, everyone, welcome to the football press conference today. This week, we start our midweek action. The Blue Raiders will head to Ruston, Louisiana on Thursday to take on La Tech. Games at 7 o'clock on CBS Sports. So with that, I'd like to bring up the head coach, Derek Mason.
Good morning. It's La Tech week. Okay, man, week number 6 for the Blue Raiders. And now, as we get into these midweek games, this group is starting to get a little healthier. Excited about getting, some guys back. That's helped with practice. We've tried to give our guys some time, some downtime early in the week, but really focused on us fundamentally and what we could do during that, pseudo bye time. But this group, continues to try to work towards mastering the fundamentals. We know going into this La Tech game, and we face a team who's been decimated by injuries as well, but this La Tech team will be ready to go. Coach Cumbie, has had to start 3 quarterbacks. He's had to move some guys around and shift and adjust. And as we know or have heard, Coach Cumbie's sort of giving some of the play calling duties to Nathan Young. So how does that affect them? I'm sure, it'll look different on first and second down and a little bit with your O-line coach, calling plays. It's probably going to look a little different. But then on third down, it'll probably come back to Coach Cumbie. So I think for us, our game planning has gone ahead as normal, and we're not going to change what we do. We're just going to adapt and adjust as the game shows up. As I look, top to bottom, their players, quarterback Jack Turner, Davenport, True Edwards at the running back or at the wide receiver position has done well, and then Zach Zemos continues to be a predator on the defensive side of the ball. It's a group, man, that's 4-0 versus MTSU at home. So when you look, it's important for us to get off to a fast start when we get on the road. Go play physical football down there, mistake-free football. That's what we talked about, man, trying to make sure that we can take care of the things that we need to take care of as a football team so that we can play well. Each team probably has their own set of issues, but I'm super excited about, again, getting healthy, getting on the road, and having an opportunity to play a conference opponent this week, and that opponent is La Tech. So with that, I'll turn it over for questions.
Coach, everyone in Conference USA, is adjusting this midweek schedule in October. How much of a help is having an open week prior to your first midweek game and sort of adjusting the timeline that you'll have to go through in the week head into the game?
You know what? I think I'll tell you after I've gone through it. I think right now, for me, and I think it's a really good question, but I think you don't know until you've had a chance to go through it, right? I think for us, the thing that we did focus and concentrate on was us, right? It gave us a chance to have fundamental practices, good on good, speed on speed, which was really needed. Because I think in those practices, you can sort of rev up the competitive spirit a little bit. You can put a lot on it, and then come back to your game prep later in the week as we had our first La Tech practice on Friday. So Friday, Saturday, today was a La Tech practice. Tomorrow winds up being like a Thursday. Wednesday's like a Friday, and then game day being Thursday. So we've made the adjustment at least time-wise for the days, but I don't know how effective it'll be until we've had a chance to go through it.
Coach Reeder was on staff with their defensive coordinator, Jeremiah Johnson, at Northern Iowa.
Yeah.
What sort of insight can you get when, two guys have worked as close together as they have, or you're working on the game prep this week?
Yeah, I think those guys have called day-to-day, activity and competition against each other. I think there's things that they'll know about each other. But I think also, coming off of a pseudo bye week, there's a lot of chance for self-scouts. So I think a lot of that stuff goes by the wayside because I think what you do is look at yourself, see what your tendencies are, and whatever tendencies you may have had during that time or what you may have put on tape, now's the time to be the best tendency breaker that you can be. So what I would tell you is, I know they know each other. How would that factor in? Maybe in situational ball. Does Bodie have a go-to call? Does he have a go-to call in the red zone? It's up to Bodie to change, like the demeanor of what he does based on what he knows about himself.
Oh, yeah, Coach, you said they've gone through several quarterbacks, I think 3 this year. How do you prepare for a team like that who can throw out multiple different quarterbacks with multiple different styles?
Yeah, I think a lot of that has to do with injury, too. So I think, for them, I don't think they wanted to throw out, 3 different quarterbacks. I think it's just been due to, unfortunate, incidents like an injury. But the preparation for multiple quarterbacks, I think they run what they run. I think they do what they do, right? So with that being said, we have to do a good job of tackling. We got to make sure that we can limit some explosives, and we got to get off the field on third down, as well as be good in sudden change. Those are the big emphasis points for us, because we think they're going to do what they do. Now, we got to guard better. Coverage has got to be tighter. And we got to be able to, fit the run. Better populate to the football and make sure that we put hats on it, because, for us, turnovers need to show up. And I think this is a group in the Blue Raiders men right now, like I said, that's getting a little healthier. Being able to look at some guys like Raby, Diari, Farrell, and some of these other guys coming back. It's a savvier group. Which makes us a little deeper in the secondary, which is something that I think is a great challenge as we look to face La Tech this week.
Yeah, Coach, on the defensive side of the ball, you guys showed some consistency last week against Memphis. How do you take that and build onto that going into La Tech?
Yeah, I think some of the consistency, at least tackling-wise, and at least through the progression, started during the Duke game. I think you saw some things. We wind up being put in some rough situations defensively, and that's part of it. You got to defend a blade of grass. As we've seen some of the growth from the Duke game to really the Memphis game and how guys showed up, I thought it was more physical. I thought guys ran to the ball. I thought we covered better. I thought guys are just now starting to communicate. When you had changes like we've had, even on defense, what you miss more than anything else from a guy like BH is communication. Right? I mean, communication is not a one-man job, but he sort of commanded that from everybody. And so, when your corners, your safeties, your backers talk, well, then even your D-line starts to get into the act and starts to say what they see. And I think that's something that's coming with this group. I know X has moved from quarterback to safety, and him being a quarterback, I think he understands the intentionality of communication. You don't communicate and everything starts to go awry. So really, that's been our focus: communication, getting everybody on the same page, and getting some of these bodies back.
You talked about a lot of defensive guys that may be coming back. Offensively, are you anywhere closer to getting some of those cats back?
A little closer. I mean, Daniel Gonzalez was sick and out, and now he's back, and we're making some tweaks and adjustments there. Man, we made some adjustments on the offensive line, which I think should help us in terms of what that group's going to look like all the way around. And I think it's about the best 5, up front. And we haven't had anybody come off of injured reserve on the offensive line yet. So until those guys get back or healthy, man, we're going to have to play with what we have. But I'm starting to see it a little bit. And you may have a chance to see Frank this week, which is good, because I think he's an emotional leader. Guy don't say a whole lot, man, but a guy packs a lot of weight. And watching him run today, was pretty impressive. So it's good to see him and Jaquel Middlebrook back, because I think both of those guys are explosive or can be explosive to this offense. And it just leads itself to have a heavy running back room.
You were talking about, Sam asked you about the schedule and the midweek games, and with what Conference USA does and playing the whole month of October midweek. Does it give you an opportunity to see more games the way they're kind of spread out? And second part of that, have you ever gone through a stretch in your coaching career where you've had to deal with, different games or games on different days over a 3 to 4 week period?
No. No, Chip. I've never had I've never had to deal with the man, in 3 to 4 week stretch. 3 games in 14 days, right? But I know this much. I'm not playing. I just need to make sure that our players, have enough rest, they're prepared, and that, we can put them in the best possible position, for success, and that's starting with La Tech. And so I think we've tried to take it off of them. I think we've been smart with how we've, settled our practices instead of having these overarching, long practices. Our practices have been fairly short, pretty crisp, trying to take the heavy lifting off of them and really just emphasizing nutrition, recovery, and this ability for these guys to make sure that they're in the tape, because there's a lot of information in the tape.
Not to beat a dead horse, Coach, but
Yeah.
you talk about 3 games in 13-day span.
Yep.
Does it make it harder on bringing guys back from injury or keeping those injuries from being reaggregated with those games in such a tight span?
Well, really good question. For us, our injuries happened the first 3 games. So, our guys have been recovering the whole time. We've been playing without those guys most of the time. And so with that being said, it's fortunately for us, a 10-day break gives extra days, for guys to get ready. And if they're not ready for this one, well, then, it's 14 days, right? Before the next one. So some of these guys have had close to a month. Some of these guys have had 3.5 weeks. Others have had 5 weeks. So I think slowly but surely getting this group back is going to be important. I think the time has helped us a little bit because the injuries came early. So we'll see how it all works as we get into these midweek games. But again, excited to get on the road, go to Ruston. I know we're 5-3 in the series, right? Overall. So our big focus is us needing to play our best ball right now, and we haven't done it yet. So that's the encouraging thing, is that in all 3 phases, man, we haven't played nearly close to the potential of what this team is capable of, and so that's exciting to think about, but it's been probably frustrating for folks to live through, right?
Coach, you mentioned that you go 5-3 in the series. La Tech is 4-0 at home. Mm-hmm. How do you go into that atmosphere and get a win?
Yeah, we've been on the road, and I think we've gotten better every time that we've played. So I think the important thing is getting people settled, right? Good things have to happen to you when you go on the road. First of all, you got to pack a defense on the road when you go play, period. Okay? And then it becomes about, protecting the football, okay? When you don't turn the ball over, okay, man, you don't beat you. And then that third component of it, really, okay, playing game-changing special teams, and that's being good at being able to find the hidden yardage and make that count. But we all know this game's about scoring, so you got to score and you got to stop folks.
What type of things did you focus on during your bye week?
Yeah, more the same: blocking, tackling, block destruction. All these things that have been cumulative, even substitution, right? We had substitution errors, field goal, PAT. These are things, in my opinion, that you look at teams and when you're playing that, if you're playing sloppy ball, and to me, I consider that sloppy ball, that has to do with not functioning the right way and paying attention to the details. So we've had substitution on top of substitution on top of substitution, because those things can't show up, as you're going on the road to play, a La Tech team, man, who's at home. They're 4-0, versus us, and 5-3 in the series. Okay. Thank you.
All right, our student athletes here today. We have safety Xavier Williams and offensive lineman Ellis Adams, and we'll begin with Xavier.
Happy birthday, first off.
Thank you.
But Xavier, obviously you've had, a big position switch, this season already, position you dabbled in a little bit, at UCF prior to coming here. Walk us through the conversation about switching to safety this year and sort of how that came about.
The conversation was, I would say it was pretty simple. I wasn't getting much time at quarterback. There's obviously a couple injuries to the DB room, so it was more brought to my attention. They asked me how I felt about it. Always been a team guy, so I was ready to go.
Had you played safety at all before you tried it in spring at UCF?
No, never.
You led the team in tackles at Memphis from that safety position. What do you think's helped you get some early success there so far?
I would always say I've been a football player. Above all, I've been a football player. I love ball, watching ball, studying ball. So, the biggest thing for me is just going out there and playing. It's a child's game. I've been playing since I was young, so I try not to overcomplicate it.
From the first day you went out to practice as a safety, how long did it take for the game to start slowing down a little bit in your brain?
Are you talking about at UCF or here?
No, here. Once you made that move over.
I think the coaches did a really good job of kind of easing it in for me. When I first went over there, they didn't just throw the whole playbook at me and just expect me to know everything. So I would say slowly but surely, every week, every day, it continues to slow down as I continue to learn more, understand more about the defense and understand the overall scheme of what they're trying to accomplish. So,
is there any truth to the thing that, he's a quarterback, he ought to know where safeties are playing?
Yeah, I would say that helps a little bit. It does help a little bit.
Xavier, you talk about, Chip kind of alluded to this too, being a former quarterback, does it kind of make it easier for you as a safety, knowing kind of what a quarterback, his progressions he's going through, things that he's seeing? Does it make it kind of give you an insight onto being a safety as to knowing what the quarterback's maybe looking at?
I would definitely say it helps for sure. I do understand some tendencies, but I think at the end of the day, you have to line up and play what you see, like right in front of you. So I can think I know what's coming, but then I don't know what's coming. So I kind of just have to play what I see, try to understand tendencies, definitely through film and study. So.
When you play quarterback, you're obviously somebody that used your physical traits a lot, a hard runner, from that position. Does that make the transition easier when you're still having to use your physicality, particularly up in the line, getting in the backfield for some TFLs?
I would say so, yes. It's I enjoy it.
Anything else?
Playing quarterback, you have to be a vocal leader there. With BH going down, how do you feel like that experience as a quarterback has helped you be a vocal leader on the defensive side of the ball and help limit some communication mishaps?
As Coach Mason talked about, I think it's super important just for communication all across the board. Even me playing safety, if I was playing D-line, wherever it was at, I think communicating is the easiest way not to beat yourselves. So switching from quarterback, understanding communication is super important. I try to over-communicate rather than under-communicate, just being in a new spot and continuing to learn a defense. So.
Elsie, you had a lot of success, before you came to Middle Tennessee this year at the FCS level. Is the game at the FBS level different on the offensive line, through the 5 games you've played against some pretty good competition so far?
I would say, yeah, the players are bigger. Maybe a little bit stronger, but talent level is probably about the same. But the size-wise, and probably the speed of the game. That's the biggest difference. But yeah, I don't think I really had a problem adjusting to that.
And then, we've talked about the consistency the O-line's, lacked so far just due to injury. Mm-hmm. Has the open week given you all a chance to sort of coalesce, and how has that sort of grown a little bit, through the bye?
100%, man. Like, I try to preach to the O-line, and we all just try to preach to each other, just consistency and staying together. Like, that's the biggest thing because, it doesn't matter how the quarterback gets sacked. It's on us. Like, no matter what happens, it's on us. So I try to preach to the guys, stay together. We know, we know what we need to do, and we just need to do it. That's the biggest thing. And so this bye week, we've been trying to get back to the fundamentals, understand what our base things are, and then we can go from there.
For guys like you and Marcus that have a lot of experience, but just not a lot of experience here, what's it been like, finding your leadership role, in that room, being able to impart your experience onto guys that maybe haven't seen you play personally a lot before?
In my opinion, it's been really fun. Like, I just like playing. Honestly, like, we got really, 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 really talented guys, and the reason I came here was I wanted to see my talent level against higher talent, essentially. You know what I mean? And Marcus is the same way, and us coming in and trying to take on leadership roles. It's been tough at first, but now rolling into the season, I think it's easing in together, and I think we're gelling well as a group.
Speaking of that, going through with so many new guys on the roster, one thing like Nick talked about a lot was how quickly everybody was open to gelling and coming together as a group. Have you seen that as well from an O-line standpoint?
100%. Like, as an O-line, no O-line in the country is going to be good if y'all are separated, if y'all aren't good friends off the field. You know what I mean? If y'all don't have each other's back on and off the field. You know what I mean? And so we were building that throughout the summer and throughout fall and all that stuff. So, yeah.
Talk about what it's like playing for Coach Simmons and what's day in, day out with him like?
I love it. He's really detailed. He holds us to the highest standard, and that does not waver. And that's what that's what I asked for when I first came here. So I have no complaints.
One thing I always found interesting watching practice with you guys was Coach Simmons and Bear Hunter sort of have a good cop, bad cop dynamic sometimes, but I can't tell which is which, at times. Do they lean one way towards the other, or are they sort of, feeling off of each other's energy in a given day?
I don't really think. Sometimes I think they might talk about it before practice, and they pass the baton. But I think they're closer to the same kind of coach than what y'all really see. It's just as an O-line, we kind of need that with this group specifically. You know what I mean? Because we can sway one way or the other real easily, and that's what me and Marcus try to help with. You know what I mean? With our leadership role, to stay consistent. You know what I mean? And so with those two kind of dynamics throughout practice, I think that helps us a lot. You know what I mean?
As a player, going through October and 3 straight midweek games that, especially the first 2 come pretty quick. How do you get all that justified in your mind of, okay, today's not really Monday, today is like Wednesday, or how do you compartmentalize that?
Man, I do not know. This has been new to me, but I think just through my experiences, I think the only weekday game that I played was on a Thursday, and so in my whole career, and so this is very new to me. But I think like you know how to take care of your body throughout the week, and when things change, you just got to adjust. You know what I mean? That's the biggest thing that we've, as an O-line, had to do. You know what I mean? We've had to learn how to adjust, so it's really nothing new for us.
Ellis, talk about this linebacker room of La Tech from an offensive line kind of standpoint.
I think they're really talented. I think they're bigger backers than what we played against so far this year, and they play the run really well and really quickly. So we have to have disciplined eyes and disciplined feet for sure, so we don't go too far in or too far out and stuff like that. But I think they're a really talented group, but we're preparing for them like everybody else.
La Tech runs a 3-3-5 sort of as their base, which, little different look as far as your eyes go, compared to even, 4-3 versus a 3-4. What do you have to do to stay disciplined as a group on the offensive line to make sure you're looking in the right spots with a defense like that?
Well, with that extra guy kind of in the box but kind of out the box, you just got to, like I said, it's disciplined eyes, because you can call somebody out who you're comboing to, but it might change on the fly. You know what I mean? So you just got to understand that things might change post-snap, and you have to understand what you need to do from then,
Circling back to Coach Simmons real quick, Ellis, to have a guy leading you who's been there, done that, he's been in the NFL, won the Super Bowl, how important is it just from a learning standpoint to have somebody that's been there and done that?
Just exactly that. You know, he's been there and done that. You know, like you know that what we're doing now, he's already been through time and time again. You know what I mean? At the highest level, at our level. You know what I mean? So I think that's very important to keep things in perspective from player to coach. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Does he ever bring the ring in and show it off?
No, we have not seen it yet. I should ask him though. I should ask him.
Anything else? Oh,
Against Memphis, you kicked out to right tackle. Have you had any experience before that playing outside, and what do you feel like helped you do well against Memphis in that role?
No, that was my first game. That was my first game in college, starting at right tackle, and that was my first game ever playing fully at right tackle. But I would say, man, that kept me grounded was just playing. You know, like. Not thinking too much and just going out there and hitting somebody in the mouth. Like, that's the biggest thing. Like, that's kind of like the bottom line. That's what you got to do is play physical. You know what I mean? I believe I'm already smart enough to understand what's going on, to read the defense, to understand what could be coming. And so I really had no problem with that. It was just about just not being afraid of what you're going to do wrong. Just play fast. You know what I mean? And when in doubt, hit somebody in the mouth.
Anything else?
Thank you.
All right, everyone, make sure to keep your calendar out from now on. But next Monday, we'll be back here again right before we play Kennesaw State at home. So look forward to then. Have a great day. Thank you.